Hello, wonderful friends. Welcome to our November Zac Chat from a very autumnal UK. The leaves are fluttering out of the trees as I'm speaking to you. Janet and I send our love to everyone feeling the huge vibrations of change around the world and the feelings of being on the edge of a precipice and perhaps even heading into the unknown. And whether that's one way, people being very excited about it and others finding it very challenging and all that lies between. So as a result of that, I'd like to jump right in and welcome our dear friend Zac.
Welcome everybody.
Welcome. I sense that your multi-dimensional perspective, Zac, will remind us of the journey that we're on at this time, this unprecedented time here on Earth, especially as Pluto enters Aquarius in the next few days on the 19th of November. Pluto's move from Capricorn into Aquarius, which really is a profound transition from tradition and structure to a new era of innovation and collective ideals. And I'd love it if you could shed some further light and enlighten us on this topic, Zac.
Well, we have many to cover. So we will give a high-level view of this for this Chitty Chat.
Okay.
Ultimately, where you have this move happening, we are moving away from structures that have been set in stone, how people often think, well, I do this because my parents did this before, and my grandparents did this, or my culture did this, or my community did this. There is a far more free-flowing action of energy, and energy is thought, is emotion. Energy is what drives activity. So you could think, well, how does that actually work? It manifests in your life completely naturally. So whereby things that have been very hard to move away from, and I hear it a lot with humans with saying, oh, well, that is how things have always been done, or that is just the way of it. We are moving fully away from that. And so this is, as you say, Hazel, innovation and so forth, but in a far more natural way, in an everyday way, finding the freedom within to actually just simply do things in a different way. This can be as simple as maybe a habit of what you eat or drink or whatever, and been trying to change it and just finding that you naturally do it without even thinking, down to actually your views on things, your emotions about situations, about how things have a way of blossoming in your life. And so, as you can imagine, when something like this cosmically happens that affects the entirety of the earth, when one person is moving against the grain, it can be very tricky. But when everybody is doing it, it becomes a movement, an energetic movement of energy. And it is not even so noticeable because everybody is doing it. And so on this higher level that we are talking of with this, it is simply to say not the nuts and bolts of how it happens, but look out for it in your world, welcome it in your world, and do not be surprised if people who you think are real stick in the muds, who don't change, you think, oh my goodness, I never thought I'd see the day when they did this or this or this. But you can imagine on a larger level how much easier it is. A bit like coming out of the treacle that people feel stuck in, like stuck in a, sort of sticky mud, but actually coming through and find it far easier to bring forth a way. Lots of people have been talking about ways of living, ways of being that they have desired for so long and thought that their lifestyle, their community, whatever it may be, their culture may not support it. And now it does. So we do not say, oh, this is going to happen on this date and then after this date. Ha ha, as wonderful as that would be. But it is a gentle move into it. So go with the flow or these cosmic changes. They are there to benefit you. These cosmic changes and all that happens to the earth, it is not that the earth is this rock in the middle of the keyboard of the universe and is saying, I don't want to change. think that everything that is around astrologically and other is actually supporting the change that Earth wants to happen. You see, think of it that way around. It is supporting the change and the evolution of humanity. Understand? Yes.
Yes, I do. That's really reassuring. And I wonder if you could explain a little bit about what I'm sensing in the field. We are recording this just a bit earlier than it going out, but there's a feeling of turmoil in the field with the world leaders, with the wars and atrocities that are taking place. And I know that we looked at this a few weeks ago in the deep dive with polarization as a big topic. But I wonder if you could help us understand more about what you're seeing in the field and how we can maybe reframe it or understand it with what you've just said.
When things are all quite tickety-boo, in your world, things happen, things change at a larger level. And it may even simply wash over us. We do not even notice too much, even if it does bring about quite big change, because we are already on a very even keel. We are already in a position of balance. However, through all that we have told in our Chitty Chats and DP Dives and many, many others are speaking of and have spoken of, this is such a time of turbulence always, as is, these are years that you are living at this time, because there is so much change. It is very easy and natural. I say this very importantly, very natural, to feel yourself coming out of balance. It is why in so many of our talks, Dave and Hazel, we talk about the importance of coherence. And of course, as you say, recent deep dive talking about oneness and the role of polarization and how we can really feel with that. Because as soon as we are out of balance, even just a little bit, these things that can often feel out of our control, whether we feel elated, whether we feel desperate. What we are doing is we are pinning all our hopes and dreams on something external to ourselves. And when we are out of balance, that can feel very, very scary. Feels like you're hanging off the edge of a cliff and you do not know if you're going to fall or whether you're going to climb back up. And so we do appreciate, and what we are seeing in the field is a lot of energy, a lot of life force that is bubbling and fizzing, and actually a bit like, solar flares coming off the sun. It is energy like spitting off of people. And this can be quite troublesome to them and to others. What we would say is, whatever you are feeling, because there is always uh, so much turbulence, this cannot be ignored. Even though we are not incarnated this time, we do not look and say, oh, but people should just ignore it. No, because it is their life. And because of oneness, something happening on the other side of the world is still very relevant to that person. And the pain and the emotions and so forth are shared, maybe in relative levels, but it is all shared. And therefore, whatever feeling, think first about balance. Do I feel in balance? And it is likely you may feel quite off balance or just a little bit. And then the way to help is not only with the centering of self, the grounding of self, and all these things we have spoken of, and many other teachers speak of time and time again, but also thinking of coherence. And what I would suggest, particularly at this time, particularly if it is about the global turbulence in the world, put yourself into coherence first and foremost with your immediate environment. Wherever you are living, whatever you are doing, whatever you have created around you, you have naturally done to create something that is very coherent with you. So by putting yourself in coherence, first of all, with your environment, this can give you like a level playing field. This can help you. And then you have the ability far more to tap into what else is going on in the world and really know how you are feeling about it from a centered point rather than from a very shall we call it, excitable energy and a very reactive point. Does this make sense to you, my dear?
It does. I wonder for new people if you could just explain how we put ourselves in coherence with our immediate environment.
Yes, I would certainly suggest to listen to topics when we have spoken, particularly of coherence, because it is not, 1, 2, 3, you've done it. Uh, and we do not want to just put it on such a high level. But ultimately, if you've not uh, uh, come across coherence before, balance can be a little bit harder to get to, balancing your chakras, balancing your energy system, blah, 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 blah. However, coherence we can come into quite easily because it is a regulatory factor that goes beyond your own energy field. So the coherence comes from the heart. So through the coherence, you can drop into your heart space. If you're finding that very hard, very heady, or very in your gut, very instinctual, just focus on your breath. This is the easiest way. Put maybe a hand or two on your heart, something that focuses you on that place, right in the center. So we're talking about the energetic heart more than the organ of your heart, even though that is connected with this. And by sensing into it, you can simply say to yourself, even, I come into alignment with my surroundings, with my body, with the energy field that supports me. Okay? And so it can be very simple in this way. I'm putting it very, very high level here. Simply so that as you breathe and you come into it, you are allowing your environment to support you. You are not separate from your environment. And this does not even have to be in your home. If for some reason you are feeling that your home is not very coherent with you at this time, maybe you live with many others and things are doing, go outside. Go to somewhere into nature. It does not have to be deep into a countryside, out into the sea. It could be just a patch of grass or a little tree somewhere, because that is the embodiment of Gaia, of Earth as well. And you can there as well support yourself. Or if there's something else that you find particularly nurturing, and you can do this, you put yourself into coherence in this way. Does this cover enough, do you think, my dear?
Yes, I think that's really important. It's almost finding that place of inner peace. And what I would love to know is what does that then do at a higher level to the field? How, if all humans do that, even despite what's going on, how will that change things?
Think of a whole lot of prickly pears in a bag. Ha ha ha! If you then reach in to pick out a prickly pear, you'll be saying, ouch, 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 because your fingers will be feeling all the prickly bits, even though you really want the pear. You understand? Nothing wrong with the pear, it's just how it is. But if you could imagine, let's have a little play here, that the prickly pears went all into a place of coherence. And this is a good use of the word of peace. But if they just went into a place of coherence and all their prickles just softened, 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 when you then put your hand in it, you can actually feel everything. You can sense it, sense which pear is the right one for you, which is the ripest, and you take it out. So it is not that the pear has changed, but your reaction as an outsider to the pear is quite different. And this is the same. If you can imagine that you are the prickly pear, and it is not because you've done anything wrong, it is just your natural state of being that is run a little bit riot, and you've got all this energy firing off that is uncomfortable for you, uncomfortable for others. Once you go into coherence, nor does it mean that the immediate people around you, just because of a personal energy space and coming into your energy, will relax more and will actually find you far more comfortable to be around. But because every single thing, as we've spoken of in oneness, is connected, your environment will pick up, everything else will pick up. Maybe your pets will be a lot more comfortable. It has a ripple effect. And because you are more in coherence, naturally other things around you come into coherence. Does this make sense, my dear?
It does, and it feels as though we've talked a lot about coherence. And yes, there's definitely other chitty chats and deepy dives that we can go to find out more. But it does feel as though this is a real important thing that you've been sharing with us, and it sort of overrides so many things that are going on in the world when we are feeling the fear of the unknown or feel like we're standing on a precipice, that this will actually start to change things. It is quite a transformational energy for us.
It is, and I would just simply like to add, uh, because something is actually simple and does not take long and does not have bells and whistles and fireworks, does not mean to say that it is not incredibly powerful.
Mm.
You do not have to be living in paradise to be doing this. You may be living in a war zone yourself, whether a war zone that is happening outside your door or actually in your house. Going into coherence, we are not saying, oh, do this and everything will be fine. But you will be more embodied into your true self to be able to make quick choices, quick decisions, to be alert, to be able to see, feel, and think clearly. Okay? So even if you are thinking, yes, but it's okay for everybody else, but I am living within the biggest situation of my life, then even more so for the coherence. It only, when you start to practice it, it literally will take you moments to do. Initially, yes, to get used to what you are doing, it may take a few minutes initially, but the more you do it, and eventually you can even say to yourself, you know what, I don't think I'm incoherent right now. Take a deep breath and you just put yourself into it, because it will become like a habit. It'd be something that you get used to. When you were a child, took you a few minutes to put on your shoes. When you're an adult, you just slip them on and off you go. And it's
Yeah,
the same sort of thing. It is an energetic muscle. And
yeah.
so whatever your situation, don't think, well, I need more than coherence right now. It's almost like the foundation. It is a
Mm.
foundation, because from that, yes, you can do practical work, energy work, whatever it may be, or you can just simply rest, whatever it is you need, but you need the coherence first. When you are out of coherence, everything else is so hard to do.
Mm.
Understand this?
Brilliant. Thank you. That was really brilliant. A great reminder. And I think really useful for people at the moment. I'd like to just touch on something that we were talking about before we started to record, and that was really relating to the recent election in America. You were saying that at some level, it didn't really matter which party won, because the overriding energy of Pluto moving into Aquarius is really what is the dominating force as we as humanity move forward on this planet. Could you expand upon that for us, please?
Yes, first of all, it can sound very selfish for one who is not living on the planet to say, oh, that, or this or that does not matter, from our perspective. It is not about that. It is just simply whatever you are seeing in the world, uh, any great change, whether it is in a political situation, any other health situation, whatever it may be, it is like the flavoring. The flavoring comes from what is actually happening in the cosmos. It is like the seasoning being sprinkled down, you can say. So even though the ingredients, we're going to use a cake analogy here, the ingredients may be there, what the actual ingredients are that actually flavors, and so it completely changes what you're actually having. So you may know a political situation is a cake, but it's actually the ingredients, and the ingredients is what you feed it with. Yes, cosmically, with the astrology and so forth, but also what is in your heart. So whether you are already feeling on whatever situation, one way or the other, it is almost like put that to the side, go into coherence, and you know my favorite word, do you not, Hazel? Betterment. Is flavor it with, this will be for the betterment of all. And
Mm.
when I use the term all, I'm not just talking about all humans for the whole planet. So
Mm.
this can be for all animals. It can be for the elements, for the air, the water, the environment. But
Mm.
if you just naturally have within your a mindset that all means everything. So we're back to the whole term of oneness, not all who are deserving or all who live in this particular country or whatever. That negates everything and goes against everything. When we ask for the betterment for all, we include ourselves, but we include actually the whole cuboid of the universe. And all of this work, you could call it, that is naturally happening out in the cosmos, what we were talking about, the moves with Pluto and so forth. This is really the seasoning that is coming on. This is the flavors that are coming in. So it is about being able to have a perspective. And this, as we said with the coherence, is yes, of course, human beings have the ability, whoever they are and in whatever situation, to make huge impact in the world. And what as a person you can do is add to that flavor the intention that it will be for the betterment of all. So it is not, oh, it does not matter per se, although it is completely understandable that is what we're talking of, different hazard. It is just more that the impact comes far more from the reaction of the hearts that the world has because of the shift in energy, because it is fielding, feeding the consciousness and the super consciousness so much now, more than anything else. So,
Mm.
whatever you are feeling, almost try, if you can, to not put too much of your personal feeling just out into the field. It will be there anyway. This isn't about trying to dampen down things. It is just when you actually put your intention, be very open so that you do not know how that will actually manifest in the world, but that it will be betterment for all. And you could even visualize if you want, or just think, or even other words, the cuboid of the universe. But the more that people come into oneness and accept the connectivity between all things, and really willingly, on their heart's desire, not just from noodle, but from heart's desire, really desire betterment for all, completely, sort of stepping aside from any polarization, then it happens.
Mm.
Then it happens because there's nothing holding it back. It's like a kite that's on a tether, that you're pulling in different directions. You cut the string, let the kite soar. You understand? Yes?
Yes, I do. That was wonderful. Also, I think it's helpful when we understand that because we're going through this transformation phase, there are going to be catalysts that are almost designed to be catalysts for change, and that without the catalyst, the changes aren't going to be happening. And maybe things that people are witnessing at the moment are the things that are going to change the course of humanity's journey in the most positive way in the long term.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, Change is a strange thing. It is one of the reasons why a number of years ago now, different Hazel, we use the mantra so often, allow change to change you, because change can be very difficult. Because change does not always look as you expect it to look, particularly in the beginning, and particularly with a catalyst, as you say, for things to happen. The biggest transformer in life is fire. And what does fire do? We all know the story of the phoenix, and we have a wonderful phoenix meditation, do we not, different Hazel, to help people who are particularly maybe feeling very melancholy or have difficulty with many, many changes. Because fire is a great cleanser, but it is painful. It can burn. However, out of the fire, it nurtures like the ash with the phoenix. It is actually from that the new comes. It is not that it is just blown away and something brand new, because as we know, energy changes. It does not die and then a new energy transformed one thing to another. And it always needs some sort of catalyst. In some worlds, like I said, there could be a fire. Magic, is a fire energy as well. But in your very real, very physical existence, it can be painful because the catalyst as well and the change often goes really strongly through the emotional body as well. But you are quite right. And we do not always know what a catalyst is that is coming, that is more for us than maybe for somebody else or for the world. However, again, just going back to that point, going into coherence allows you to see things with a viewpoint and a perspective that can give you often an overview of the catalyst that something is, even when it is very difficult. It does not mean to say, oh, that is okay. If somebody is in pain, that is okay. We are going through this, and that is okay.
Mm.
It is more about being able to, how to say, have the fortitude. That is one of my favorite words, is it not? Have the fortitude to keep going, to not let grace leave you, to allow yourself to still have kindness and compassion for yourself and others, because in your heart, you can see that even though it is painful, this is a catalyst which will allow the opportunity for a new way of being or a new something to come through, even when there is loss. Understand? Yes?
Yes, absolutely. And I can only imagine that the cells in our body are much happier when we're in coherence. And I was just wondering, as you were speaking, whether that also influences our DNA, as there are such genetic changes taking place within us at the moment.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. If you are in resonance, coherence with your body, and you are living by the principle, allow change to change you, you allow, on even a physical level, as you said, the cells of the body to have far more free reign, free flow. Everybody understands the principle of blueprint, that as you are born, all of your cells, say the cells of your liver or the cells of your heart, know how to reproduce and to reproduce in such a way that they still represent the liver or the heart or wherever they are. So there is an element of almost like a program running in the background. But to evaluate, if we allow the coherence and we allow change to change us, and this is true, the light coming in and so forth, rather than the cells being in this almost mindset of, I need to do the same, I need to do the same, I need to keep going, they can be free as well to roll with the changes, to go, oh, this is interesting. I do not have to do it this way. I can start doing it this way. I can change. I can evaluate. And so there is a lot more freedom and harmony. And of course, that then has a ripple effect with the DNA and everything else. So as you in your heart have this desire to be better, for want of a better word, to be able to evaluate, if you are very attuned to that word that we use so often, then you are giving far more permission and encouragement to yourselves to also be able to do that without you having to have a cognitive, without you having to say, cells, now do this, cells, now do that. If you're actually living in more of a coherence where you are willing in your heart to just roll with the change, then it can do it for itself. Understand? You're trusting your body to be able to tell what is happening in the environment. When you drink a glass of a very good high energy water, you do not then say, right, once it reaches the stomach, it should do this, it should do this. You trust that that water is hydrating you. And if you have listened to what we have been speaking of, and with different Pamela as well, regarding the energy, the astrology that is constantly in the water, you are just absorbing it in. Could you imagine how many hours a day it would be if everything that you took into your body, you had to then give instruction how your body to use it? So you've already got used to trusting your body to be able to do so many things. So it is trusting it in this way as well. But the more we feel, I got to hold myself back, I got to keep myself in this way, I've got to keep the status quo, the harder it is for the body because it is not getting the signals that say, I trust you to evaluate on your own. But if we are living with uh, uh, this mindset, as it were, this lifestyle, this coherence, and for betterment role includes yourself, then yes, the cells and so forth, because also they will be able to moderate. They won't blow a fuse. They will be doing it in the process that is right with everything else. The body naturally wants to be in balance with itself. The more you can allow yourself to do that, the more it can uh, do it in the fashion that is right for it, for you. You understand this?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I have a question that is quite relevant in a way to that, and this patron is asking us whether you could just tell a little bit more about some of the exciting or significant attributes of the chakras as we evolve and as we live a more coherent and conscious life.
Well, the chakras are like the overseers, you know? So everything that happens at the cellular level and all this, it is governed by the chakras, but it is an interesting harmonious nature between the two, because even though it is governed by the chakras, it has its own autonomy as well. So, if we could take further, as it were, what we were talking of there about the cells of the body, that will naturally enhance each of the chakras in its energetic presence to be able to take on higher levels of subconsciousness. Okay. Often it is thought of that the subconsciousness is only connected with the third eye or the heart or this, that, or the other. However, there is an element in all of you. So whatever is actually happening, also by having this, we are back to it, the coherence, the balance, but really not favoring one chakra over the other, but actually having an intention. And you could even have a practice. Could be every day if you like, or it could be once a week, where you are encouraging each of your chakras simply again with intention to be able to take on more of their superconscious persona. Now, I'm using that word simply as it is the frequency level uh, uh, is not too jarring. So rather than just saying all its superconscious qualities, which could be a little bit too much, if we say the superconscious persona, then it is edging in bit by bit, bit by bit. And it has the ability, and you'll find whether you have been taught, maybe people have been taught, or you feel that each of these chakras have a very specific role. What they start to do is also blend. So other chakras can help these other ones in their particular role or even take on for some time a different role. So it can become a lot more like a team working together. There is an expanded quality as well. Many people have been feeling this, and many people are having difficulty with personal space with others because their energy field is literally expanding. Not just when they are doing energetic work or when they are feeling great feelings of love or support or whatever it may be, but it really is expanding because the energy sides are getting uplifted more. So just by managing this as well, you can still embody everything that these elevated chakras are producing. And just simply set the intention that it is going to be at a comfortable level away from your physical body. but only a comfortable level, and so that it can retract in a bit like, lungs breathing out, breathing in when you are around others, because otherwise it could get, this is another reason for, this reminder regarding coherence, because you could be around lots of people that you greatly like, respect, love, and then you come home feeling really depleted, and all of your energy has been on top of each other. So start being aware as well of this expansion in your energy field, and retracting it isn't dampening it. It isn't lowering the frequency. It is just saying, in a physical world, how am I comfortable? So, you may be very comfortable in your own home, being very expanded, and you could go out and when you are meeting with people or doing things, or going into an office, going into a shop, going into a building, just retracting it so that you are not bombarded by pushing into other people's energy fields as well. Understand? Yes.
That's so helpful. Thank you, Zac. We're sort of running out of time, and I know we had some questions planned, but I think we'll have to save them for another time. You know what they were going to be. Is there anything that within those questions you really thought, oh yes, I want to share some information about that? If you could give us some headlines, that would be really useful.
The only other one thing that I think really intertwines with everything we've been speaking of, and you have made me very aware of this timing of this particular chitty chat, and how many people in the world may be feeling. And it is a question regarding loyalty. All we really want to say, and we will expand in maybe it is the next chitty chat or the deeper dive, but regarding loyalty. Loyalty, people think of loyalty as something to strive for because it makes them feel safe. I have this friend who is very, very loyal, or I am very loyal to this person. It means we are safe with each other. We're safe with each other's secrets, and all of these things. And this is very true, and this is very relevant. However, loyalty has been expanded over the years to actually integrate far more than just your friend or just your family member. This may be loyalty to a whole community, to a whole country, a nation. Oh, you are this, and therefore you should be loyal to that. And then there is a dogma that is involved, because loyalty always means that you are not going to deviate from a particular thought pattern, a particular belief system, whatever it may be. Okay? So simply what we want to say is, we would like, ideally, may take some time, for people to only really think of loyalty in terms of connection, really deep connection with something or someone that absolutely holds exactly the same values, beliefs, and so forth as yourself. Now, we have been talking about oneness, and you think, how can that be? But it is just simply that there is a place still for loyalty. And if you are loyal in that parameters, then it normally does not get uncomfortable. However, if you maybe have been brought up, or you are taught because you are in a certain club, in a certain group, you have to be loyal to that, still be your own person. This is all that we are saying. Be your own person. Do not think that this is a dogma of any situation, that you have to be a certain way. Always follow your heart. If your views change, whatever it may be, it does not have to be uncomfortable. It is just simply that that is the way it is. So all we are really wanting to say, we can expand further on the whole area of loyalty as things have been changing, especially in recent years. However, just for now, if this is a subject that keeps coming up of, oh, but I want to be loyal about whatever it may be, really think about what loyal actually means. And it is not a wrong thing not to be loyal within the terminology of how loyalty has been thought of. Understand? Yes.
I
Understand?
do. It reminds me of some points you made earlier in the deep dive that I think are very relevant here, that are connected to letting go of the things that we've been holding on to, or that are familiar to us, being able to allow change to change us, but really letting go to that resistance for change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Exactly. It may be as simple as a teacher who has always been very, very aligned to you, and you are loyal to your teacher. And then your teacher, for whatever reason, may have not be in coherence and maybe saying things, doing things that you do not really gel with, and you find they're actually difficult for people.
Mm.
And you feel very disloyal because you are not doing what you have always done of said, I agree, I agree, I agree. Okay? This is everything about this time is about, and it is a paradox. Being absolutely individual, unique, and your own person, whilst at the same time completely and utterly being part of oneness and part of everything else. That is something to ponder on. I've left you with a quizzical little conundrum. It is a paradox of our time, but it is also an absolute truth of our time. Allow yourself, my dears, to be as completely unique because you are unique. And that is what makes you so wondrous within the oneness of everything else, because you bring a different element to it
Yeah.
all. So allow your uniqueness, allow your heart, make decisions only when you're in a place of coherence. Be part of betterment for all, and that includes the whole cubed of the universe. Allow yourself more and more to integrate into that. And I think you'll find that things are a lot easier in that way. Understand? Yes.
Perfect. What an incredible way to end. Thank you so much for all you've shared. I think your messages today have become a real soothing balm for us and a real something to really contemplate and embody these teachings. I think that's the thing. We can hear it, but unless we start to embody it and really practice, then we're not taking the fullness of all that you're sharing. So thank you, Zac, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure all of those who are watching and listening. Thank you.
It is not an easy time to live. This we honor. It is not an easy time to be here on this planet, but my goodness, there is so much here on offer. There is so much that can be done. If your deep heart desire is for betterment and for betterment in your old world, in your own world, this is the time in history where you will see it happen quicker than any other. But you have to put your heart to it. Ha! Back to the paradox. We have to do the practice. We have to do the work. We have to not take our foot off the accelerator, to use a car analogy. We have to always be going forward and to accept ourselves as we are, imperfect, perfect selves, but keep doing practice so that you can be better and part of the betterment. Good, my dear.
We love you, Zac. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you all for being with us today for yet another of Zac's wonderful teachings that really go straight to our heart. Thank you, Zac. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.